where you do understand the CEO of IEBC, Ezra Chiloba, is appearing before parliamentary committee to answer to audit queries. Let's listen in.
Where of who are the local promoters of this company in Kenya? Yes. Yes.
Thank you. I actually have 5 sets of questions, but this ties with the 2 questions. So let me ask it. But Chairman, let me first explain that I think it's important that the Commission understands that although there's a criminal matter going on, the criminal matter is a pursuit of individual criminal responsibility. The Auditor General and this committee is concerned with the culpability of the entity. The entity is the Commission. And I think it is important that we explain. That is why, despite the criminal matter, we are entitled to get answers from you as a corporate entity, even if individuals are being pursued. But secondly, just on that question, number 1, the answer you've given is that the company was Face Technologies Pty Limited. But if you look at the contract, page 39, in fact page 38, you see the company is described as Face Technologies Limited. Now, you know, in Kenya, we at that time did not have anything like Pty. So the name described in the contract is more consistent with the registration of companies in Kenya. It does not say Pty. Number 2, if you look at the page 39, the description in terms of the offices of Face Technologies, you will see it described as South Downs Office Park. Now, come back to the letter you're talking about on page 5. The offices are described as Merlus Building. The address is completely different.
Yeah.
Number 3, if you come to the end of the contract, you will see that the contract is signed by 2 people on behalf of Face Technologies Limited. Someone called William Hunter. You see, William Hunter, in the presence of Adan Haji Isaac, whoever that is. But the letterhead on page 5 does not seem to disclose this William Hunter as a director. So just going back to this question, was this Face Technologies that was contracted actually the South African company or another one? And was it competently contracted in view of this contradiction?
Please respond to those questions before you proceed to the next one.
Follow.
I'm sure it's following what our line of questioning.
On the same asked by my colleague, the signatories of Face Technologies Limited for the contract, the one William Hunter, I would also want to know the nationality of this Adan Haji Isaac, because clearly it seems like a Kenyan name.
Okay, please go ahead, Mr. Chiloba, and respond to those questions.
Mr. Chair, thank you for those questions. With regards to the ownership, as I said, Mr. Chair, is the way that I've presented in terms of the immediate information that I have on record in terms of those letters. You can actually see the directors. In terms of the people who are engaged with the Commission, and just going back to the contract, when you see the manner in which it was signed, there's one Mr. William Hunter who signed for Face Technologies Limited, and Mr. Chair, the PTY component, I acknowledge that actually it does not have the PTY component, which is a matter that maybe I'll be able to pick with my legal team. But that said, Mr. Chair, the history of this contract, as I said, I was not the only one who was involved in this. In fact, by the time we were making the payment, there was intervention from the National Treasury, where they had conducted what we call an audit on all pending bills. And this particular payment was also a subject of the pending bills audit that was carried out by the National Treasury, which was basically to verify any payments that were legitimate before the payment was made. And this payment was part and parcel of that. So, Mr. Chair, it's the first time that the issue of the PTY is actually emerging. When the Auditor General also went into this matter during the special audit report, actually he never raised those differences, but it's a point that we need to look at in detail. But that's it, Mr. Chair. Also, I want to mention that this Mr. William Hunter, together with these are the gentlemen, Sefton. Yes, Softe. They actually came to my office before I met them. They came for a meeting when they were looking for their payments, the two of them.
When exactly was that, Mr. Chiloba, please?
That was sometimes in the first half of 2015, if I'm not wrong. Actually, yeah, if you look at the letter on page 5, it refers to a meeting that was held in my office.
So you know them personally?
Yes, I met them personally. Yes, they came to the office. And it's not the first time that they had come there. I was only 4 months old at that particular time. And their payment processing was actually at the tail end. I made this process at a very advanced stage, Mr. Chair. But I did not make the payment immediately, because I thought it was incumbent upon me to undertake a bit of due diligence, given the controversy that arose. And if you look at the history of that particular payment, whilst the Auditor General observed that we were having a pending bill of about $4.6 million, and the National Treasury auditors also said we ought to have paid $4.6 million. According to my own assessment, Mr. Chair, and the support of the team, we said that given the nature of the contract and the goods delivered, we could not pay them the $4.6 million, but rather we'll pay them the $2.5 million, what we thought was supported under the particular contract, regardless of what the Office of the Auditor General had pointed out, as well as the National Treasury audit. So it is that particular context that I came to meet them.
But in your due diligence, did you ascertain that William Hunter and the other gentleman and Adan Haji Isaac were authentic directors of Face Technologies?
Mr. Chair, you know, we deal with a lot of this.
And who are their local promoters? That question is still not yet answered.
Mr. Chair, I wouldn't really tell who are the local promoters, because we had a contract on record, and the contract didn't reveal who the local promoters were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Honorable Jeanette.
Chair, you see, Chair, the matter that is being pursued here by the Auditor General, if I may get it right, Chair, is value for money. It's not whether products were delivered or not. Chair, the audit report says that there was no value
for money.
For money. That's the point that we need to discuss and base our arguments on. So, it is a fact that this issue we are discussing are issues related to items that were procured during the 2012 elections, 2013. Now, you came into office. I'm sure in that election, Bana CEO, you were living in Kenya. You're not out of the country. It was in the public domain that those gadgets failed to work at the election time. None of those elections, the gadgets, the laptops here, everything never worked in that morning of the election. You come to office and you find a pending bill of $4.6 million. The audit report by then was out, saying that there was no value for money for those products. Even in the public domain, it was very clear that there was no money, there was no value for that product, because it never worked during the elections. You come into office after the elections as the CEO of the organization. The previous CEO is taken to court for malpractices based on the same issues. You go further ahead and pay $2.5 million to the same people who have brought items that never functioned during the elections. What informed you? Why did you go ahead to pay $2.5 million, which is equivalent to 2.5 billion shillings, to people who delivered products that never worked during the elections, to people who the auditors raised there was no value for their products? Kenyans never got value for their money. What prompted you to go ahead and make, as the CEO, a payment of 2.5 billion shillings? $250 million.
Shillings.
Shillings, yeah, whatever, yeah. Why? Why did you incur that kind of expenditure, knowing very well that there was no value for money?
Mr. Chair, just also to point out, it has been brought to my attention about the initial question about Mr. Haji. If we look at page 60.
60?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
There's a letter there that is written by the law firm of Eastern Company Advocates, and at the introduction it actually refers to one Adan Haji as the local representative of First Technology Pty Limited with respect to the above tender. Basically, this was a demand letter written to the Commission sometimes in September 2014, way before I even came to the Commission. But that said, Mr. Chair, I think what Honorable Junet is asking is a valid question. And as I said, Mr. Chair, when I came to the Commission, that is 2 years after the election, there are certain processes that were going on, and this included audits of all the commitments that the Commission had entered into with respect to the 2013 election. And I will be on record to say that the First Technology pending bill was not just alone. We had pending bill projected at 0.2 billion Kenyan shillings arising from the 2013 general election. And before any payments were made to any of the companies or individuals at the time, a process was put in place, which was a due diligence process, which entailed having auditors going through each of those payments and making an opinion in terms of what needed to be done. And with respect to the First Technologies, Mr. Chair, I agree with Honorable Junet that issues were raised at the time. Whilst issues were raised, there were issues to do with the legal obligation on the part of the Commission. And in very specific terms, Mr. Chair, when the internal auditors who were commissioned by the National Treasury to look at all the IEBC pending bills came across this particular payment, they analyzed it in detail, Mr. Chair, and that is actually found on, it's good to just refer you to that particular brief, page 16, Mr. Chair, of the annexes, yes.
Proceed.
And if you look, that is page 16, then page 17 is basically the report that touches on this particular payment. It goes on to detail on page 18. Then towards the end, that is just on the left of page 19,
Now page 18.
okay, well, the way we're numbering the pairs. So it's basically the back of page 8,
Yeah, page 18. Yeah.
Yeah, you see there that